Love has a way of turning ordinary days into stories we tell for generations. These 5 love affairs once shocked the world. And in their wake they left us with something lasting, lessons about courage, patience, and the strange alchemy of 2 people choosing each other when the odds are steep. Tonight, we walk through history to find 5 truths about love that survived scandal, politics, and time itself. Lesson 1: When love becomes a catalyst, it can redraw borders. Cleopatra and Antony show us how attraction can pull nations into dangerous, dazzling alignment. They didn't just fall in love. They collided with empires and strategies, turning a quarrel into a quest. In the dim glow of a desert night and under the watch of 2 restless hearts, they chose each other as if the world depended on that choice. The seas roared, the banners fluttered, and yet their shared gaze held firm. It wasn't just romance. It was a dare to risk everything for a bond that felt inevitable, even reckless. What we learn is simple and brave. Love can demand that we lay down safe plans for something bigger than ourselves. And when 2 souls decide to walk forward together, they redraw the map as they go. Lesson 2: Devotion can endure distance and silence, and it can teach resilience. Napoleon and Josephine understood longing as a discipline. Their letters traveled across corridors of power and miles of sea, carrying not only affection but a stubborn insistence that they would return to one another. She wore grace with a flame of independence that puzzled and inspired him. The waiting was heavy, the separations long, yet the message never dimmed: love's grammar is patient. In the end, their story isn't about perfect harmony. It's about learning to grow in response to a love that refuses to fade. The lesson: true love isn't just about being near. It's about becoming someone who can meet a partner where they are, even when the distance feels endless. Lesson 3: Minds and hearts paired with courage can defy judgment, but they demand respect. Abelard and Heloise aren't only a love story. They are a study in intellectual devotion meeting moral challenge. Their letters survived centuries, not as bright proclamations alone but as careful, intimate conversations carried with quiet audacity. They went beyond passion, they pursued a shared truth, even when the world called their bond shameful. Their romance teaches us that affection can be a force for growth when it is grounded in respect and a willingness to learn from one another. The shock wasn't just the romance. It was the invitation to model a modern courtship: talk openly, listen deeply, and choose each other while choosing what's right. Lesson 4: When love collides with power, the story becomes a turning point for many. Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn show how desire and ambition can fuse into politics that shock an entire era. Their love altered dynasties and reshaped faith, and the consequences rippled through families and temples alike. It's tempting to see it as only a romance gone awry, but the deeper thread is a caution. When love becomes a lever in the machinery of power, human needs can be sacrificed to a larger design. The heartbreak isn't merely personal loss. It's a reminder that choices made under pressure leave footprints in a lot of lives. The lesson here isn't to fear passion, but to temper it with accountability. To ask who benefits and who pays when love acts as a political instrument rather than a shared vow. Lesson 5: Choosing authenticity can rewrite a life path, even at the cost of a crown. Wallis Simpson and King Edward VIII embody a different kind of shock, the kind that happens when a love story asks a sovereign to step away from the throne to be true to itself. The world expected allegiance to duty. They offered something more intimate, a life chosen with eyes open, a companionship that refused to be diminished by public opinion. Their decision wasn't about rejecting romance, it was about refusing to let fear govern the heart. The result was a new kind of legacy. A partnership defined by honesty, companionship, and the courage to shape a life that fit who they were inside, not what others demanded. The takeaway is quiet but powerful. Love that asks for a different kind of life can still be a victory if it honors the truth of who you are. As these 5 stories unfold, a common thread appears: love is not a simple sensation. It is a practice, a test, a dare to be braver than yesterday. It asks for patience when the world wants speed, for forgiveness when missteps happen, and for imagination when the present seems too heavy to bear. It reminds us that a relationship worth the effort doesn't vanish under pressure, it transforms, chiseling away at fear until trust glows brighter. So if you're listening because you crave warmth in a cold season, if you're here for romance that feels earned, these tales offer more than nostalgia. They offer a map for hope, the belief that love can survive, even thrive, across centuries when the people involved choose to keep showing up. It's a reminder that endings aren't the last word can be begin again, even after centuries of doubt. And perhaps that is it invites us to imagine a future where 2 people, against the odds, decide to walk forward together. It invites us to believe that happiness isn't a fairy tale prize but a daily practice, the conscious choice to be present, to listen, to forgive, to grow. If history can teach us that much, maybe our own lives can learn to hold a little more light, even on the days when the light feels far away. Thank you for letting these stories unfold beside you. May they ease your heart, spark your courage, and leave you with a sense that the possibility of a truly kind, enduring love is not just a dream from the past but a quiet invitation for today. Before we part ways with these tales, a thread unites them: love is a craft you practice, not a moment you witness. You don't need to wear a crown to learn from them. You can borrow Cleopatra's courage when fear speaks, Josephine's resolve when loneliness knocks, Abelard and Heloise's honesty when gossip stings, Wallis Simpson and Edward VIII's authenticity when duty presses, and even the quiet restraint that kept a passion from eclipsing a person's integrity. So here are 5 modern reminders you can carry into your own heart. Reminder 1: let longing become listening. When a wish for someone grows strong, pause and listen to what your heart is really saying, what you need, what you fear, what you hope for. The truth often arrives softly, in the pauses between words, in the choice to stay curious about your own feelings rather than rushing to act. Reminder 2: trust is built in small, faithful acts. Love doesn't only leap, it leans. A text that checks in, a shared chore during a busy week, a promise kept when the world asks for urgency. Over time, those tiny commitments become a map you can return to when a storm arrives. Reminder 3: courage wears many faces. Sometimes it's the bravery to apologize first, sometimes the grace to forgive, and sometimes the humility to invite change for the sake of another. The great loves of history didn't merely endure. They invited both people to grow into a truer version of themselves. Reminder 4: power wants control, love wants partnership. When status or pressure presses on a relationship, the choice to put partnership first can alter more than a couple's fate. It can heal families, communities, and even redefine what a home feels like when 2 people decide to share the weight with honesty. Reminder 5: authenticity over appearances, always. The stories remind us that a love built on truth, even when it costs comfort or a throne, carries a gentler, longer-lasting kind of magic. The right partner won't ask you to pretend to be someone you aren't. They'll stay when your mask comes off and your flaws glare back with honesty. If these reflections land with you, you're not alone. I'd love to hear your own moments when a historical shock became a spark for a better understanding of love. Share a memory in the comments, or tell me which lesson you want to learn next. May these stories keep your heart open, and may your days ahead be tender, brave, and hopeful. Until our next chapter, keep believing that love's power is not a fantasy but a practice you grow in, day by day. May these stories keep your heart open, and love's everyday